Now, the second thing that makes science is the mechanics of science itself. In this field, you look the idea of planning utterances is often mapped out like a biology or a mechanical flow. One, you have input, the environment and the audience, the perceived needs. God knew that he needed to visit Abraham. He needed to keep him constantly in check. He needed to be sure he was on course. He needed to make sure that he imputes into him his values, his godly nature, because he wants to raise a righteous nature through him. So the input was there, as we saw in this text. Then the processing. The processing talks about tailoring, the intent, and the pruning the words. God kept on telling him, pouring into him his vision for him, his promises for him, the covenant, the reward of the covenant, and he kept using words that he can understand. Your descendant, your generation, servants in your house. All the things he could use and understand were the things he used in tailoring his conversation with him. So talking about the science of communication, it is the mechanics. It is the mechanics of communication. It is the mechanics of communication. It focuses on how and why communication works based on objective patterns. You will wonder, why is all of this in the church? If you don't know how something operates, you can never use it effectively. That is the essence of the knowledge, so that you, the people of God, will not perish due to lack of knowledge. So science is the mechanics of communication. It works based on objective pattern. You have an evidence. That means you have a message to pass. There's something you're processing and information to give. Two, you have it structured. What makes it scientific, apart from all the factors we have looked, is that it's also structured. You have everything in place, as we have in utterance planning and information theory. You just don't open your mouth. We have been opening our mouth for years, and we have been suffering from what James 3:2 says, that he who does not sin by the word, the same is perfect. We are all sinning with our mouth because we don't understand that science, communication is a science and it is an art, and that when we talk, certain scientific things are going on within us, and there are certain things that are parameters to show that it is a science. Everything you're saying is an evidence. That's why in the court of law they say you better keep quiet so that something is not used against you. You have an information that, as at the time you want to present it, you've done your search and you are expected to know that what you're saying is factual. So when you open your mouth and you consistently say things that are unfounded, you will lose relevance. So the science of communication makes us to understand that evidence is key in whatever you want to say. So for those who accuse people in their homes and offices based on unfounded information, you're not communicating, you're causing damage. Then communication that is scientific is structured. You plan it before you say it. And when you're delivering, you have information theory in mind. That means, how will this person understand it? Is this word concise and precise for what I'm delivering? Then we have predictability. Before you open your mouth, you should be able to know what you want to achieve. So when you have not gotten to the level of understanding the overall impact of your message on the listener to be able to predict your outcome, you're not communicating. But under communication in science, you can predict what you're saying. God knew it, that he needed to visit Abraham, get him to the next stage, the covenant stage. So he tailored his communication, gave out the content in such a way that he achieved his goal. So the predictability in communication makes it scientific. And the fourth thing that also makes communication scientific is the system. We're talking about the cognitive load. That means you using the right words so that you don't burden people with things that is too much for them to comprehend. You looking out for the biological response so that you can quickly adjust your communication to suit the feedback you've gotten. And you've been able also to study all the body languages being exhibited, either physical or visual, because human beings are creatures of habits. And they give signals. On phone, you should be able to know if I'm hungry. On phone, you should be able to pick if something is happening to you. As I'm speaking right now, you can pick the energy with which I'm speaking. Those are the things that make science, that makes communication a science, because it is a system. Now, I haven't said so much about all we need to know before getting to zero it down to the understanding the science of communication. Now we go to the art of effective communication. We have seen the science of communication. Now let's look at the art of communication. When we talk about art of communication, that is the mastery. Guess what? You might have all the mechanics with the science offers. If you don't have the mastery, you will be an automatic failure. What is mastery in art? In the art of communication, it is when you focus on the nuance and the timing that science cannot always predict. When we talk about nuance, we're talking about you having good intuition. When I come to you and I want to talk to you, when I see your mood, I'll quickly know it's not a time to talk. It is intuition. Or I come to you and I see your mood, I know this is a time to talk. That is intuition. Whatever I say at that time, I'll have positive results and likely achieve my communication goal. Point number 2, that makes communication an art, empathy. I'm discussing with you and suddenly I discover that you have flu. Courtesy demands that I ask you, oh, okay, do we put a stop to this conversation? I notice that you have flu and you might be very uncomfortable. That is showing empathy during communication. When you have the understanding of all the mechanics, you're not empathetic. You can't study people to know that should I continue this conversation or not. Empathy is the second art of effective communication. Knowing when to quickly round up a communication or ask permission either to continue or discontinue. When we talk about creativity, arts give you the creativity. When you want to talk about something, the way I'll talk to Mommy Rahim is not the way I'll talk to Daddy Olatiboso. Mommy Rahim is female, Daddy Olatiboso is male. Of course, the way I'll talk to you will differ. Creativity in communication puts into cognizance the gender, the social exposure, and so many things of people. So you get creative. You look at somebody that you can relate with. Look for a factor that makes it easy for you to penetrate. So that creativity comes under art. That's under the art of communication. Under scientific structure, there's nothing like patronizing someone. But under art of communication, you can patronize, be creative, and all of that. Then under art of communication, we have the performance. Communication is a performance. I learned that a very long time ago, maybe because I'm a dramatic little girl. I love, making things colorful. It's a performance. When you come in to talk about something serious, you put up seriousness. At some point, you ease the seriousness. Again, you increase the tempo. You reduce the tempo. You keep flowing. As such that the person listening to you is mesmerized, carried along, and buys into what you're saying, ready to collaborate with you, ready to cooperate with you, ready to make things happen. When you don't have all these 4 arts of communication, it makes a mess of science of communication. So when we talk about communication, the science and the art of effective communication cannot be separated. Science tells you that human brain can only hold about 5 pieces of information at a time. That is science. It will tell you the mechanics. So don't ever give more than 7 information at a time. They will tell you mo ti gbàgbé. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ti gbàgbé nìyẹn. So